Somewhere between the growing pains of adolescence and the responsibilities of growing up is a bridge that we all must travel, the path to adulthood. But for visually impaired teens, crossing the bridge and discovering what lies on the other side can be the greatest challenge of all. Because vision plays a major role in finding out about the world around us, visually impaired teens are faced with special obstacles. Unlike their sighted friends who can see how others act and dress, teens with vision loss cannot rely on their eyesight to learn these things. Bridges to Independence examines these challenges and offers ways to overcome them. This video also underscores the importance of visually impaired teens reaching out to others, teachers, family members, and professionals, to form a team that will help make the transition from high school to a job or to college an easier one. By combining spontaneity and curiosity remembered from our youth with the self-confidence we acquire as adults, we can enrich our lives and make our dreams come true. For Braille Institute, I am Sidney Poitier, and this is Bridges to Independence.
I don't really consider myself handicapped. I consider myself normal.
Yeah, you know, like, to be treated like regular student.
Just because I can't see doesn't mean I can't walk or talk.
The main thing is communication.
That could make you kind of mad, wouldn't it?
It's just all the things they perceive and what you tell them.
I guess I have to be real, you know, I'm blind, and that's...
There are many bridges a person has to cross in life, and those are bridges to independence. The many factors that enable us to make that transition from teen to adulthood. When I think about some of those bridges, I think that probably the most important one that can be built happens when a person feels good about themselves. If you feel good about yourself, you feel like you're able to take on the many challenges that life offers. You're able to allow yourself to fall down, pick yourself back up, and keep on going.
The years of adolescence, growing from youth to adulthood, isn't an easy time for anyone. Being an adolescent and being blind is a difficult bridge to cross.
See, don't go on a latch. Feel like a lift. We spend a lot of time getting to know each other, socializing together, and it helps us when we perform and when we sing because we're more in tune with each other, everybody knows each other and feels comfortable. So that's one of the things definitely Andy gets out of that, is that feeling of family and everybody's his friend in the group, as well as the fact Andy's a very hearing person. Music means a lot to him emotionally, and because his hearing senses are so important to him, the fact that he can be a part of this music means so much to him. He's very easy to work with. I feel very comfortable talking to him about things. You know, I've had to learn a lot too. This is the first time I've ever worked with a blind student, and so it's been really good for me too to constantly think about things I have to do. That's the first thing they want. There's a funny story that happened recently. We had to meet in the auditorium for a rehearsal, and I forgot to tell them the day before. So I wrote this big note, put it up on the door for all the madrigals to see, please meet in the auditorium. So of course I put the note on the door and all the madrigals come over here and I'm taking attendance, and I said, oh, Andy's not here today. And somebody said, oh, I saw Andy walking around earlier. And I said, well, where is he? He's never late. And all of a sudden it occurred to me, I put a note on the door. It's not going to do Andy very much good. So I sent somebody over, and sure enough, Andy was just sitting over there in the choir room wondering where everybody was. We had to bring him over, and I said, Andy, I did a stupid thing, huh? And he says, yeah, putting a note on the door isn't going to do me much good, is it? So he has a good sense of humor about things, which is good, helps put everybody at ease. And everyone else starts to say, hey, I guess that's how Andy wants to be treated, and that's fine. We shouldn't be treating Andy with kid gloves all the time. He's just a regular kid, and that's what we need to see. And I think the more he's been in this class, the more they see that. And, you know, Andy's a special kid, but he's also a teenager, a regular kid, and he needs to joke around and mess up and have a good time just like everybody else. But you have to be careful. You just, you know, us as well as him have bridges that we have to cross together.
You may recall, if you take your sheets out on the stem, that there's a difference between a dicot and a monocot stem.
The idea of support is really important in a family situation, but it's even more so important when the child goes to school. We as parents, we have the responsibility of seeing that he gets there, seeing that he does his homework, seeing that he's responsible. The teachers have the responsibility of saying, okay, I've got this kid in my classroom. How can I best adapt the situation so that it's going to work? You know, and they don't have to do it, but if the ones that take it on as a challenge, it ends up being a more cooperative, collaborative thing, and it's just a really good situation when they say, how is this going to work? How's this kid going to work in my classroom? And Andrew is more than willing to do his part, so it's kind of neat when we get the teachers that also are excited about him being there. He's got the ability to do it. He just needs to be given the materials and maybe adapt certain situations to do it. So I, as parents, you know, encourage them to treat your children normally, give them a lot of nurturing, get a lot of outside help, because I think that's important. I don't think you can do it all by yourself. And when you allow the child to be in mainstream situations, you can see what other normal behavior is. Because I know sometimes I used to think, is this normal for Andy to do this? And I turn around and I'd see another child doing the same thing or even worse, and I'm going, what am I worried about?
Well, I'd like to continue in my music a little bit. You know, just join college choirs around, because that's a lot of fun to do. There was a freshman coming in who was also visually impaired. I'd tell him just to go for whatever he can. There's a lot of good activities around, and just get involved as much as possible.
Hi, Yvonne. How are you? Susie Straight. From what I understand, I am the only blind counselor at a public school, or the first one anyway. I'm hopefully the first one of many, because it's a job that I think blind people can handle most effectively, and perhaps even more effectively than some sighted people, because the number one counseling rule is confidentiality, and who can be more confidential than a totally blind person? I think it's actually a real asset, because I'm visibly imperfect. And I think all teenagers feel that there's something wrong with them. You know, my hair's not just right, or I don't have the right clothes on, or the right jeans, or the right tennis shoes. They look at me and they say, well, you know, she's like I am. And they're totally accepting. Being a blind or visually impaired teenager, the biggest problem that you have to deal with is the feelings of isolation and alienation, because you can't just, you know, go up to somebody you don't necessarily even know they're there. So in addition to the feeling of all teenagers of wanting to belong and wanting to fit in, to have a place, the visually impaired or blind teenager can't see that place, can't see where to go to fit in. They do need the same skills as sighted teenagers, and perhaps even better skills, because they have to depend entirely on, for instance, their sound and their perception and sense of touch other than sight. They can't just pick up visual cues and know what to do. I've learned that encouragement is probably the best medicine. All my life I've been encouraged to do and to reach my full potential. What I tell parents is that, you know, you can't keep your child from falling. You are your support system, but you're not supporting, you're not holding them up. You can't hold them up. All you can do is be there when they get up, and then give them choices and teach them to be responsible for their choices, because they aren't going to learn to be normal, functioning adults if they haven't had any responsibility as a young person. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I think parents make. They don't give them any responsibility, so how can they possibly learn to be responsible? It's really important to develop a support system. Not a supporting system, again, but a support system whereby, you know, you have people helping you out, you are helping them out. It's been important to me with my husband as well. You know, he just has given me all the equipment, including the baseball hat and the hockey gloves and shin guards and knee pads when I was learning to get around with a cane. That's more support. You know, he's not holding me up, but he's letting me go.
6 of those, aren't there? Okay, then make sure you do 6, not 7.
The goal that we see for our blind daughter is really the same goal that we have for the 2-sighted daughters. And that is, our hope is to get them to a point where they can function in the society and in the world as it is, rather than demanding that the world conform to them. That's success in whatever walk their life takes. They're all individuals. As Pam has noticed, some are good at math, some good at other things.
I think you have to find what each child's particular, where their interests lie, where their strengths lie. You wouldn't want a child who is poor in math, you wouldn't want to force them to go into an area where they're not going to do a good job.
Up and chasse.
But just because a child is blind doesn't mean that they have to change their expectations or their goals. I think you have to look at it as if you have a roadblock. Something is different, and I have to find a way around this. But you do in life in a lot of different things. Life doesn't always hand you everything.
Okay, so plie on your left leg. Now you're going to step on this one up.
During the teenage years is a time when we learn so many of the basic social skills we live with in all of our life. And yet, a lot of those social skills are acquired visually. We watch other people, how they behave, either on television, movies, or in other social settings. The blind child isn't seeing that all the time, so the parent really needs to let them know, to talk openly with them about the way they behave and what is acceptable behavior and what's positive and creates positive relationships. For the blind child, sometimes I've wondered if maybe we need more reinforcement, because so much of the reinforcement we get in day-to-day life we achieve through visual stimulus. An example, my one daughter asked me once at age 15 or 16, "Dad, am I pretty?" Now, she's sighted, and she can see, as we go to the movie, the boys look at her a second time. She can see that, and finally a boy once told her then that she was pretty. She still has to ask Dad, "Am I pretty?" She needed that reinforcement. If she, with all of her visual reinforcement, how much more the one who doesn't see needs me to tell her that, and maybe not in a repetitive way, but in some way make sure that she receives the kind of coaching, the kind of inspiration that she needs if she's not getting all of those visual cues.
Teen years are very important. I think that sometimes what happens with visually impaired or blind teens is that there's so much focus put on their academics to make sure that they get through school okay. But it's important to make sure that those teens have the same teen experiences that other kids have. It's important to go to slumber parties. At slumber parties, that's where you learn what's cool, what's in to wear, how you wear your makeup, how you wear your hair, call boys up on the phone. All those things are just part of growing up. It's important to participate in extracurricular activities. They don't have to be all rigid and structured. They have to just kind of happen with the day of the school experience. As a teacher, I could probably look at it as the wealth of independent living skills that take place there. I mean, the girls learn how to groom, they talk about makeup and all that. But it happens in an informal way, in a very natural way that needs to happen. They need to get on the phone and call up the boys and giggle and laugh about it, because you can't do it on your own at home. I don't know of any 14-year-old girl who would have enough nerve to pick up the phone by themselves. You need a whole gang around you to kind of pep you up for it.
We are happy.
Dave, you know, I see a lot of really good strawberries here.
Strawberries?
I know, they're good. You want to stop and get some celery?
We're always hungry, and we're always going out to eat. We might be going out to pizza or something, and we go to the movies a lot, and it's a lot of fun. Me and her friend do a lot of things.
We talk a lot about my school and about what it's going to be like when he goes to college, what to expect, and he thinks it's going to be really easy, but it's not. We talk about his school, how he's doing, and what he needs help in, and just kind of how things go socially and academically in school. He's probably about the way any brother would be. I don't think he's really a pain. We have a problem when we share a bathroom.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get the eggs and the butter.
Okay, I'll go get the cake. I'll meet you in the cake aisle.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll see you there.
Okay.
Raising a blind child is indeed a team effort. And the team involves the whole group, not just the blind child. And I think oftentimes when there's a blind child in a family, too much focus goes on that one person.
Excuse me there. Excuse me.
Sure.
You work here?
Yeah, what can I do for you?
Do you know where the cake aisle is from here?
Oh, in aisle number 5.
Aisle number 5, okay. Do you know exactly, I'm visually impaired. Where exactly is that?
Sure, it's straight ahead.
Okay.
3 aisles down.
Yeah.
You make a left.
Okay.
And then it'll be on your right-hand side all the way to the front.
All right, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
There's a tendency for parents to either overly protect the blind child or pay too much attention to the sighted children, having greater expectations for them. The truth is, we have to pay attention to every one of the children. All of them are a part of the team. If the family is a team, the parents need to be the coaches. And coaches do lots of things. They not only inspire, they not only instruct, but they also, and I think especially for a blind adolescent, they need to learn all kinds of ways to be more creative.
Hey, how you doing?
What kind of cake do you want to get?
How about chocolate?
Another thing that good coaches ought to think about when dealing with a blind teenager is the need to create in them in some way, shape, or form an unusual capacity for curiosity. Very important for the coach to help that child as they're growing up learn how to exercise that curiosity in socially acceptable and socially positive ways so they continue to make friends and make positive relationships.
Yes. Okay, Tina, first we need cake mix.
Okay, let me get that out.
I think that one of the problems we face sometimes with teenagers that are visually impaired is that we tend to do things for them. Parents need to expect their kids to contribute to the family. You're not going to find any teenager that is going to come up and say, oh, I'll take out the trash. You have to force your kid. You have to give them a little bit of a kick, but that's important. Believe it or not, it makes them feel good about themselves because they know that they're expected to contribute to the family, that they're an integral and important part of the family. And that extends beyond the family, too. We encourage the kids to become volunteers in their community. Otherwise, they always see themselves as being the recipient of all those volunteer efforts. I want them to get out there and do something for some other people, too. Because it's when you do something for other people that you feel good about yourself. You realize that you have something to offer that other people want.
Surprise!
Both parents and the teenagers, I think, need some kind of support system. Sometimes that support system is more formal, sometimes it's more informal. Some of the kids will participate or begin participating in a teen support group so that they can build up some friendships, some relationships. The goal is not that they rely only on those friendships with other visually impaired persons, but they have some connection with some of those kids who are dealing with some of the same struggles.
Do you think he wants to have lunch now?
I don't know. Why don't you ask him?
Don't you just hate that when people act like you can't talk?
Or think?
Or speak for yourself?
Or hear?
Just because you can't see?
All right, yeah, all right. And that happens, right? Good, let's hear it for this kid, yeah. Yeah. Would you, maybe we could talk for a minute about the skit that some of you are doing.
Yeah. You know, I think what we just saw in the skit that I think that people do a lot of the things they do not to be obnoxious or a pain, but I think it's done out of genuine concern and out of ignorance because they want to know. And I think that's goes both ways. I think that it's partially our or my responsibility.
The most important thing
for an organization is to provide the environment, the setting in which blind teenagers can come together. Because in a group like this, I find there are some who are worse than me, others that are the same level, and then there are still others who are way ahead of me. This kind of environment teaches us to grow and to conquer and to really go forward, with our rehabilitation. One thing that I've learned in dealing with these groups is there are many ways for me to see within my blindness. And in order for me to regain my sight and to start seeing, once again, it's important that I come to grips or to reality that I am blind, to accept my blindness. And after that, I can start seeing in beautiful colors.
But let me ask you,
One of the things that I
say that you need
also get out of the group,
practice pouring and different things so you can learn how to do it.
and it's
So do you want people to
it's comforting,
look after
is that the blindness is going to stay with me forever.
rather just feel your own, Johnny?
And the best thing for me to do is to understand it, to know it, to be friends with it, and say, okay, let's form a team. Let's work together.
I don't think that that's their fault, but I think then that's our job to let them know and to help them understand, because no one could possibly know how we deal with life and how we see because they don't experience it.
Attention please, driver's meeting,
Good morning, drivers and navigators. Welcome to the Braille Rally. We have our navigators over here and our drivers over here. Are we prepared for today? Yeah! Just a couple of things I'd like to say before we get started. To our navigators, remember, you're in the driver's seat. To our drivers, remember that you're helping make dreams become a reality. Okay, are we ready to go?
One thing that I think about that is really significant for teenagers is getting your driver's license. I think in America, that's the rite of passage for a teenager. And when that's taken away because you're blind, something else needs to take its place. One of the things that we do is that we hold an annual sports car rally. It gives the kids a chance to be in control. It gives them the opportunity to be the one to call the shots, that feeling of bravado and freedom that comes from getting out there and driving a car. They're the bosses. They're the navigators. They're the only ones who can read the Braille. If they don't get their driver to the destination point, they're lost. And I think that that's a good feeling for the kids. They're in control. And that's what kids need to feel. That's what being a teenager is about, is learning how to take control and be in control and feel that sense of freedom.
Clear the pre-grid, please. Clear the pre-grid, please. Let's go. Light them up.
Teenage is a time of life when we're learning our self-identity, and we're having to learn who we are, and we want to be individuals, okay? And that's a problem period of life for almost everybody, because we're all striving to find out who not our parents were, or our friends are, or our brother or sister are, but who am I? The challenge of the parent, the coach again, for with a blind child who's a teenager, is to help them come to see who they are. That is, what can they do that is outstanding? What can they do that will make them an individual? What can they be best at? And I think of trying to use methods of finding what their skills are. The fact that they have no eyesight should have nothing to do with it. They still have skills. They still have creativity. They still have the same personality. They have all the qualities of life of any other child. They just have to learn to live with the skills that they have.
What's the next instruction?
Left turn or coinga.
Okay.
I think all people have obstacles that they have to overcome in life, but it's how you face it. With what kind of attitude am I going to face this? Am I going to give up? Or are you going to say, okay, this is different. I have a roadblock in my way. I have to make a detour. How am I going to get around this so that I can succeed? And you have to have your child have that kind of an attitude. And then you have to point them in the right direction, give them the enthusiasm. And that goes whether a child is sighted or whether they are blind.
Growing from youth to adulthood is not an easy road to travel. Yet the teenager who uses the years of adolescence to build a foundation of self-respect and self-esteem also builds the strongest bridge to independence. To locate a blind service organization in your area, call Braille Institute, 1-800-BRAILLE.